world of e-commerce can be tricky, and that's why you need the experts to help take you to the next level. This is Delivering E-commerce, and this is Chris Parsons.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Delivering E-commerce. I'm your host, Chris Parsons. I'm very excited to introduce another friend of mine in the industry, Chi Chhouk. Chi, thank you for joining us tonight.
Hey, thanks, Chris. It's great to be on.
So, Chi, we've worked together in the past over at Big Al's, and we did some great work there for a couple of years. And then we also actually launched a brand together, tidyliving.com, worked on a number of things coming out of the Shenzhen market, and created this brand, which was really exciting for us to do. That's all I know about your career. So I would love for you to be able to tell the audience about your journey, how you ended up to where you are today. I think it's really important for people to understand the journeys that we all take in retail and how exciting it can be.
Yeah, definitely. Well, my background's in creative advertising and design, but my love of food had me in culinary for quite a few years. My family started growing and I wanted to spend more time with them. So I took some time off to be a stay-at-home dad until my youngest daughter started daycare. I didn't really want to go back to the long hours in a restaurant, so I decided to change directions, and that's what brought me to Big Al's as part of the online customer service team, which led me to being the manager of customer service for both e-com and retail for Big Al's, and that's where you and I met, Chris. So it's pretty funny. Then fast forward a few years, then that's where I joined you at Tidy Living, like you're mentioning, where you were the CEO, and I had the pleasure of being the director of customer engagement and marketplaces there. And we launched a few great initiatives there, built up quite a few marketplaces at that time with Amazon, eBay, Wayfair, Walmart, House, Jet. I think that's just a few of them. I'm probably forgetting a whole bunch of others that we did. And even from there, we worked on a few other projects and brands. And then I spoke to Adam, the director of e-commerce at Big Al's, and they wanted to grow their presence on Amazon further than the fulfillment by merchant that they were doing. So I went back to help them launch their FBA and the Vendor Central site. So I led the efforts for the Amazon business, and we got it to pretty much where the D2C was and even beyond. And that's where I realized I really enjoyed like building brands, launching brands on Amazon and just the Amazon platform. And I had a few opportunities to work directly with the Amazon team. And from there, that's where I connected with Rand Ravitz, and that brings me to where I am today. Rand's the CEO of Ecommerce Pathways, the agency that I'm with. We're a full-service agency, and we heavily focused on Amazon. So I started as a senior account manager a few years back, and now I lead all of the account management there. So I love it because we get to work with great clients. We're always building new brands, doing something new. And that's my passion, is just launching brands, seeing them grow. And I don't know, I think that's awesome. That's what I enjoy. And I gotta say, like, the journey was knowledgeable. It was fun. You played a big role in it and encouraged me to go after my passions. And I think everyone that worked with you felt probably the same way. And I know that you like to mentor and help others. So I'm thinking or wondering if that's one of the reasons you started this podcast as well.
Yeah, I mean, first, Chi, I'll answer that question. Hopefully I remember once I get through this little diatribe. But what I really loved about your journey there is, let's touch base on the customer service side that you were running for Big Al's. So you're doing this, and that's enough. That's a full-time job in its own. But what I loved about you and what any of our listeners should inspire to was you didn't stop there. You took it upon yourself to really dive into eBay and Amazon at that point while I was running the core platform and add tremendous value. You went above and beyond on your day-to-day activities. This wasn't really a request. It was more of something, hey, I'm going to figure this out and add value to my job, myself, my company. And then all of a sudden, you started to become this expert in it. And then when I left, and I knew when I wanted to get into marketplaces for Tidy Living, I knew who the go-to was, not only because you knew about Amazon, but I knew that you were willing to roll up your sleeves And whatever task it was, let's figure it out together. This wasn't let's debate and try to find experts, was let's just figure it out. And I love that about your energy, your personality, to just dive into something and say, you know what, I'm not going to let this new technology make me afraid. I'm going to go and I'm going to learn. I'm going to Google. I'm going to search. I'm going to figure this out. And I love that about you. So kudos for you, because it's paid off in your career. For me, the question you asked was, why am I doing this? Absolutely. I love mentoring. I mean, look at my LinkedIn profile, look at the recommendations of people that I've had the pleasure of working with. I focus on trying to get the best out of the associates, not having them stay in their lane, making sure that they feel comfortable to test and learn, and sometimes fail. Let's just not fail over and over again. Let's learn quickly from it. But that's why I started this up. I mean, there's so many people that don't have good coaches and don't have good mentors in our organization. And if they can listen to this and take away some nuggets to go back and implement with, whether it's their teams or best practice to go and implement on either a marketplace or on their core platform, then I've done my job. It's about a community here. It's still a very small community of e-commerce experts, and we need to grow it in order to elevate e-commerce for all of Canada.
Yeah, definitely. We gotta be comfortable to feel uncomfortable and learn, and that's the only thing. I'm learning every day. I think we're all learning. There's always something new, and e-commerce is going to keep growing, and so I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, student of retail is what I call it. I'm a student of retail. I post articles all the time because those articles are something I've taken an insight away, a nugget from, and I think we just need to continuously learn. And I go out and I share that information back on LinkedIn because I want others to pick up on that knowledge too. So let's get into where you are today, and your expertise. The hot topic is obviously Amazon. So, you know, when you're speaking with a client that wants to engage on Amazon and, you know, take advantage of their millions of Prime subscribers, what's the starting point? How does that conversation even start with you guys?
Yeah, I guess we just gotta see their goals, like what they want to do on Amazon, what they want to do when they're getting on the platform. Is it more generating more sales? Is it getting more brand awareness? So I think that's the starting point. We like to have a kickoff call, understand the brand, understand their goals and where they want to go, and we pretty much take it from there and we set out the plan. And there's quite a few ways that we can go. So I think the main thing between the two, or the big question for a lot of people, is the difference between Seller Central and Vendor Central, both the 3P models and the 1P model.
So let's dive into that. Let's first talk about the differences between the two, so we can make it super clear, because I know when you have clients, some of them are already trying to sell on Amazon, and some of them have never even, you know, set up either option. So when you're explaining the difference between the two, what is Amazon Seller Central first and foremost?
Yeah, so Amazon Seller Central is pretty much your third-party platform. So you're selling directly to the customers, and you're either fulfilling it, which is fulfilled by merchant, or you're utilizing Amazon service, which is FBA, the fulfillment by Amazon. So this is where Amazon would handle the pick, pack, and shipping, the returns, the customer service. Here, as a seller, you have like a lot more control over the inventory, over the pricing, the logistics. I'll say the dashboard is a bit more user-friendly and easier to navigate. There's a lot more to it, but I think that's the gist of Seller Central. The Vendor Central side is the first-party side of Amazon. So that's more closer to the traditional retail, where Amazon, or more so their algorithm, places the POs. You're giving it to them at wholesale pricing, and the products are shipped and sold by Amazon. So, and pretty much everything is managed within the Vendor Central platform. And I would say that's more closer to traditional retail relationship.
As a customer of yours, you can play in both roles. You can be on as Seller Central, and you can list your products, and you can have a hybrid. You can be shipping direct from your own logistics center, or you can leverage FBA because you're going to do a ton of tonnage volume from them, and it's easier to have it in a DC with Amazon to just get that logistical discount and ship it out. Or you can participate in that model of the Vendor Central, where you list a bunch of SKUs that you're able to fulfill for them, and they send you an order on a regular basis, correct?
Yeah, exactly. So on that side, so on the vendor central side, yeah, you're getting the POs. Like every Monday, the POs are coming in. You list your products, and the orders come in, and you fulfill them and send them right out to their DCs. And there are a lot of clients that do both. They do a hybrid model, and it all depends. I guess there's pros and cons to both, and there's different reasons why you'd want to be on one versus the other. A lot of times it's just some brands or manufacturers are already set up for that traditional relationship, or they have large, heavy products that are too heavy or too high in fulfillment costs, or even on the other side, on the flip side, they have products that are really small, low cost that wouldn't be profitable if they're selling it on Seller Central because of the shipping fees. The FBA rates don't make sense, so they either have to sell them in larger formats, like in the case packs, or they have to bundle them and sell them that way just so it's profitable. So there's a little bit of both. So it all depends on the product and I guess how the client or the business is set up.
And with your clients, are you finding them more retailer based, or are you getting a lot of manufacturers now wanting to go direct to consumer through an Amazon marketplace?
Majority of our clients, I'd say at least 90% of our clients are all manufacturers and brands. So they're just direct to Amazon.
Yeah, and this is the piece I want to make clear to anyone that's listening on the retail side, because marketplaces are empowering this type of behavior where the retailer is kind of left out of the equation. Where I think retailers can play a big role is developing that rapport with customers. So retailers need to find a place in this new reality where your manufacturer and suppliers can go direct and have a one-to-one relationship through a marketplace with a consumer. Retail can still play a big role, being part of those marketplaces, curating content, making a store, because you can have a store on Amazon from a store perspective and have them come to your site, versus if a manufacturer does it, is a really isolated view of, let's say, you're a vacuum manufacturer. It's going to be only your specific brands of vacuum. But that's not the best way for a consumer to shop. They're going to want options and choices, and a retailer can really participate by curating those relationships both with the customer and multiple suppliers and manufacturers to have a really robust store.
Yeah, definitely. Because that's what I see. Amazon's been pushing a lot of wholesalers and retailers off of the 1P vendor model, and they're kind of pushing them towards Seller Central. So they're trying to make Vendor Central strictly manufacturers now. They just want to get it directly from the source at the lowest cost. And you'll see, like, even if there's right now there's a few distributors or manufacturers, distributors or resellers on Vendor Central, their POs are getting smaller, and they keep encouraging and inviting the manufacturers directly, and they're pushing everyone else to the Seller Central model.
I guess that makes sense. Amazon in the US, I'm sure you saw the report the other week where they opened up their email list. They're going to be testing that out in the US market, allowing manufacturers or sellers to be able to connect with consumers. So if Vendor Central is the direction for manufacturers to be taking part, or Seller Central, sorry, this is a great avenue for them, because they're going on there. They don't necessarily acquire customers very easily, being a single brand. But when you have Amazon with its close to 400 million Prime memberships now in the US, or in totality, they can now leverage that curated email list, which is going to be a game changer, I think. What are your thoughts on that whole initiative?
Yeah, I was surprised that they actually did that, because Amazon has always been very, very restrictive and secretive with their customers. And even like their emails are all encrypted. You can't reach out. There's a lot of regulations and policies against marketing materials going out through their ecosystem, through their messaging. So it's encouraging to see that they are opening that up. There's still a bit of restrictions. Like, you can only reach out to customers that are following your brand.
Right. Kind of like an opt-in.
They have to opt in. One, they either have to make a purchase brand. They have to opt into Amazon posts. So that's like it's pretty much like Instagram of Amazon. It's available in the US. I know they're trying to roll it out into Canada, but it's where you have like the social feed and you can follow brands on Amazon. So right now, at the moment, that's all they're allowing you to connect with your followers. But it's a start, and I think it's a good start.
Yeah, totally agree. So let's talk a little bit about international. You cover international, and when your site, I was reading it over, talks about international. Are you referring to Canada selling into the US, or are you talking about globally?
Well, we're talking globally. So we do already help a lot of clients, like Canadian brands, get into the US, or vice versa, the US market coming here. But we also help brands reach out if they want to go to the other markets, like the UK, Amazon, China, Japan. So it's a huge opportunity there. It's something that we're still working on, and with just a few clients, but it's an opportunity that's available, and to reach out to different markets. Everything's different there. Like the way you optimize, the keywords that you're doing, the way that you advertise, it's similar concept, but I would say it's like a completely different game.
Yeah, and that's why people will come to your organization to get that expertise versus trying to figure this out on their own. And I always say, like, there's certain things you want to be the expert on, and then there's other things. Let's just go and get the experts to help.
Yeah, definitely. And what's great is we work closely, and we have a lot of contacts directly at Amazon. International markets, a lot of the team here, like we go visit the Amazon team, like at the Toronto offices. I know Rand flies out to the headquarters and meets with the team there. So that helps, knowing the team, because sometimes we can just have a quick call with them, pick their brain, and see how we can move into like a different market, or what regulations or policies we have to follow when we're trying to expand different clients to the different markets.
That's great. So we've talked about the 3 different options. So to just recap on that, the Amazon Seller Central, Amazon Vendor Central, and international folks can reach out to you guys. Chi, usually I save this to the end, but since we're here with this question, is people are probably already like, how do I get a hold of this guy? How do we connect so we can get support with our Amazon business?
Yeah, for sure. So you can always reach out to me, like directly on LinkedIn. You can send me an email, chi@ecommercepathways.com. For any quotes or anything in depth, you can always reach out right to Rand Ravitz, or even just send an email to info@ecommercepathways.com, and anyone on our team will be happy to help and get in touch. And even just add me on LinkedIn, just so we network and talk e-commerce, talk Amazon.
Fantastic. So the next piece I wanted to get into is, one of the things that I knew a little bit about, but as we started working on Tidy Living together, was the A+ content, and how important it was for us to get the right descriptions and all the metadata and all of the attributes of an item and images and videos. And, I think that was part of the success that Tidy Living started to have, was we were adding rich content, the A+ content that Amazon basically coined. How important is that overall, not just on Amazon, but in e-commerce?
Yeah, so like the A+ enhanced brand content, to me, plays a key role, like a good big role in the product detail page, but it goes hand in hand with and supports like the overall listing optimizations. For anyone that's not too familiar, you can consider the A+ as the visual product description. So if you're on a product page, or you're scrolling on a product on Amazon, instead of just a block of text, you have the visuals, you have the images, more product details, there's charts, there's comparisons. So that's what the A+ is. It's only available to brands that are brand registered, and it's only one of the tools that you get access to. So you get access to like the brand store page, sponsored brand ads, brand analytics, brand posts, like we were talking about earlier. So to me, it plays a big role in indexing and ranking, but you have to understand how Amazon's algorithm works. They call it their A9 algorithm, which is pretty much Amazon's SEO. A listing should be retail ready, or what Amazon considers retail ready. That's pretty much just having the titles, the bullets, and the descriptions. They need to be clear, they need to be accurate and describe the product. You need to have like a minimum of 4 pictures. The product needs to be in stock, of course. You should have 15 reviews of at least like a 3.5 stars or so. But sometimes like the old way of thinking was stuff like, let's just stuff everything with keywords, stuff the title, stuff the bullets, the description of keywords. But Amazon knows that, and customers are picking up on it, Amazon will actually penalize you at some points if you're just stuffing it too much. So it's more about being relevant. So with the A+, what it is I think it's more of helping the consumer with the sale, and that in turn helps with the ranking. Because like what I'm saying is, a customer should purchase the product right when they get to the page, and they see the title, the pictures, and the bullets. If they're scrolling down to the A+, that means they haven't been completely sold from what's above, so they want to know more. So this is where we have the chance to highlight the value proposition, the brand story. We get to include additional images beyond the few images after the main one, and we get to put more information. Amazon does scrape the A+ for some of the keywords and what you have in the back end, but again, to me, I think this is more important for the consumer. But ultimately, obviously, it's what drives better ranking is more sales. So
right.
That definitely helps.
You talked about a couple of things there. So keyword stuffing, for anyone that's not familiar with that phrase, but keyword stuffing is, at the end of this video, I'm going to post it on Spotify and YouTube. And if I want to keyword stuff, I would blast all of my tags with Amazon on there. So anyone searching Amazon for whatever reason on either of those platforms would end up finding my video. Now they may bounce because the information that I'm actually providing in the video is not related to what they're looking for. So keyword stuffing it gets you an audience, but ultimately it's not a quality audience in a lot of cases because you've stuffed it with just relevant terms like drop shipping or 3PL or Amazon over and over again. But so Amazon's picked up on that, you said, and it's not the best way to rank anymore, which is great because it just creates a better customer experience when people stop doing that type of stuff. The other piece that you mentioned was in that whole journey of setting up the items and the content, getting those attributes. Are you finding that dealers and your partners now, they get it? They've got all of those attributes to make it a smoother setup? Because I know when you and I were trying to set up stuff for Big Al's, a lot of that content was not available. Like you really had to search it elsewhere to get those attributes and then go back and rebuild your items over and over again. Are you finding that's changed over the last number of years? Yeah,
there's a lot more tools out there now that you can do competitive research, you can do keyword research and get more information. Like two that comes to mind is Helium 10 is a big one, Jungle Scout's another, but there's tons of tools out there that you can pretty much, you can see what other ASINs are doing. You can see the top competitors. You can see which products are ranking the best for certain terms. So there's a lot of research on the keywords and the competitors and even the reviews. Like we'll pull reviews from your competitors to see the pros and the cons. What are people looking for? What are they complaining about? What are the top 1 to 3 stars most complain about issues? What are the top 4 to 5 stars? And we want to address those, right? So those are the things you want to address. And I think the big thing is setting customer expectations, because you can write all these things in a listing, but when the customer gets it, if they're not happy, the product's not good, it's not happy, it's not meeting what you claimed it would, that's where you get the bad reviews. But if you create the listings and a customer goes in knowing exactly what they're purchasing and they have that expectation set before they even receive the product, I think you're already one step closer to that 5-star.
That's great. And then you also touched on registering your brand. And I remember doing this for Tidy Living. It was someone else had a lot of similar products, and registering our brand, we had to prove UCPs and a number of other pieces of information, but it was so important that we got that done. Can you talk a little bit more about what a brand should do when they first set up to just make sure they're protecting their content?
Yeah, the first thing, I think, even if you're not currently selling on Amazon or a seller on Amazon, just to protect your brand, you can create a brand registry account and register all the trademarks that you have available. So that way, any content and all your intellectual properties are all protected. So I think that's the first step. It's just registering all your trademarks. So now, before, Amazon used to only let you be fully registered if you have like a fully registered trademark. So no pending trademarks, nothing that's processing. but they've opened that up. So they're a little more lenient now. And even then, people can go through like an IP accelerator. So if you're using one of Amazon's like partnered law firms to register your trademark, then you get early access to that. So I think that's probably the first step, is getting brand registry for all your trademarks. The next thing would be to make sure that your UPCs are all registered with GS1, because they picked up on that a lot before, and you can go to like eBay and buy a set of like 200 UPCs from who knows where, and then just attach it to to a listing on Amazon. But now they're taking the UPCs you put in, or the GTINs, and they're crossing it across the GS1 database. So I think the main thing is, any UPCs you get should be registered with GS1 under your like company prefix.
So they're doing more authentication to just protect people, which is great, because it's easy to go out and buy UCPs.
Yeah, so a lot of people are doing that. You go buy them in bulk, and then as long as it's never being used on Amazon, you can just plug it in and create whatever product you want. So they're getting a lot more strict on that end.
Good. So we've been chatting for almost a half an hour now about Amazon and how people participate. So the listeners are sitting here going, okay, so how long does this take? When a customer engages with you, what's your time frame? What's your roadmap with them to go to market?
Yeah, to me, it really depends on a few factors. Like I guess the main one is the size of the catalog. If the brand is registered, or if they have pending trademarks, what assets they have, what content they have ready, or how quickly they can turn around requests for these assets. So I'm just talking about like images, product images, anything like videos, things that we need. And a big part of it too is the structure of the organization and the approval process, because sometimes certain asks or certain requests has to go through different departments. So that all plays a part. But overall, I think like overall we get started on things right away while we build out the work back schedule, and we have a targeted go live date. So if we're working in batches of like products and priority, and we have everything aligned, I'm pretty sure like we can get a client up within the first 4 to 6 weeks. But right off the bat, we're on the keyword research, the competitor analysis, working on brand registry, putting together the listing optimizations, like the titles, the bullets, working on our image recommendations, and we're already laying out the A+, drafting the brand store, and creating a strategy for the campaigns. But yeah, usually a go live date, we're looking within the first 2 months on at least the top priority products.
That's great. And then when you're speaking with your clients and you've set out that 4 to 6 weeks, launch date comes, a guy like me who's, very analytical, into the numbers, I'm going to be looking for success and a return on my investment as soon as possible. How do you measure success, one, and then how do you set those expectations? Because, when we've launched it with different brands, it's not overnight in some cases, and all of a sudden you just get sales really quickly. So there's times where it's day one, and then there's times where it's a journey. So how do you set those expectations?
Yeah, to me, I guess it would all depend on what the goals are. But to me, it's ultimately overall growth on and off Amazon. But that's what we want to see. Is the brand looking for just conversion, or are they looking for more awareness? Because if it's awareness, then we're going to be measuring the traffic, the impressions, the reach, new to brand clients on and off Amazon. Are they getting more traffic to their D2C now? If it's conversion driven, then it's going to be the numbers. Are we hitting what we're forecasting or what we're projecting? And then certain things you can't measure, like the halo effect. Like I can't remember where I read it, but nowadays, like a lot of customers or a lot of people go on Amazon to search for a product, to see the reviews, to learn more about that brand or that product before they even go to Google, before they even go to the D2C website. So
yeah, Amazon is definitely the #1 search engine for products now. And you said it, that could impact people buying directly from your own core platform because they've done the research on Amazon, but then they just end up buying from your core site. Or they could make a trip to store and buy it to store, and they've done the due diligence and research from Amazon, and there's no attribution model for that.
Yeah, no, definitely. So there's a few things that we can track. Like we can see like the sessions or the page views. And if we're seeing that as high page views and low conversion, so you can be thinking, is it a price issue? Is it a product issue? But then if you're seeing a lift on the retail side, or you're seeing your D2C without any advertising more than your organic or the few Google ads that you're running is all of a sudden climbing, then there's something that's there. And we can measure it through, like there's attributions that we can run now. So there's a few things, but yeah, still certain things it's hard to measure, but depending on the goals, you can always set up different KPIs and try to reach those goals.
It's so interesting. You know, marketplace is still relatively new. If you look at the overall time frame of Amazon being in Canada, and it's still in its infancy and still has a long way to go. Where do you think Amazon is going over the next 2 to 5 years, and just maybe a couple of comments on e-commerce overall?
Yeah, like Amazon, I just see it continuing to grow, and they're moving on different paths. They're trying different things. Like for them, I think the majority of their revenue right now is through advertising. So they're huge. They're making, I think the last I read, they were actually at a loss on the retail side, but all their revenue is coming from advertising. So I know that's why they're pushing a lot of these, like the marketing we're talking about through like the email marketing. They're pushing new betas on like Amazon Live, where you're doing like the shopping channel kind of thing. So I think there's a lot of potential there for Amazon, and Shopify is the next one to watch out for, because right after Amazon, that's where they are. And that's pretty much all D2C is Shopify. I know a lot of companies, a lot of brands are moving away from like Magento or any other of those e-commerce platforms and going right to Shopify. And Shopify is now offering their fulfillment service. So I think they opened up a few warehouses already here, and I know they're expanding into the US, and they're offering better rates, and I think we have better fees, and the more that they reach, the better their logistics will be. So I'm excited to see what Shopify has next, especially when they're going to be offering all the D2C customers a fulfillment service outside of Amazon FBA.
Yeah, I love what both of these big players are doing. I do love the innovation of Shopify. I love that they've really thought out how they can support a seller or someone that's built their own website off of their core platform, and then even now what they're doing with Shopify Plus and their bigger retail customers. So you're right, Shopify is definitely somebody to watch for. But I will say, I know a guy that knows a little bit about e-commerce is launching some significant things for home hardware. So watch for those guys too, because you're going to see a lot of innovation come out of home hardware soon. Chi, this has been an absolute pleasure. I know we can go on and talk about Amazon and different buy box strategies and all those advertising tactics, but I'm going to let the audience reach out to you and get those nuggets from you directly. Thank you so much. One more time, how do people get a hold of you?
Yeah, definitely. You can find me on LinkedIn, Chi Chhouk, or you can send me an email, chi@ecommercepathways.com.
Awesome. And I guess I got to really start sounding like a YouTuber, because I'm getting a ton of views, but I'm not getting a lot of likes and subscribes. So I got to ask the question to the audience, please like, subscribe. It helps with my ranking, and it helps me make sure that you're appreciating what I'm doing. So thank you very much, everyone. Chi, thank you so much.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks, everyone.
All right.
You've been listening to Delivering E-Commerce. It's our passion to have on leaders and suppliers in e-commerce from around the globe, setting you and your strategy up for the next level. We hope you've gotten some useful and practical information from the show. Make sure to like, rate, and review. And we'll be back soon. But in the meantime, hook up with Chris on LinkedIn at Chris Parsons, on YouTube at Chris Parsons Delivering E-Commerce, and on Twitch at Chris Parsons 1976. Till next time, this is Delivering E-Commerce.